What's up guys, Rogue9 here, and the Rainbow Six Siege Season 7 Pro League Finals are almost upon us. To celebrate this occasion, Get Flanked has challenged Prodigio Pete and me to make our predictions for the outcomes of each of the matches, and so all three of us have created our own personal brackets. To spice things up a little, we've also included a little wager. Whoever guesses the most outcomes right gets the other two to feature his channel logo on their Twitter accounts for 1 week. So those are the rules and the stakes. And with that, let's get into some discussions about the upcoming games.
Why I can't get the bloody schedule? I had it a minute ago.
So right, I can tell you. So first match is Ents versus.
Ents aren't even there though. They got relegated. Anyone got a link to the URL? Because
I've just been using Reddit. Let me link you the Reddit that I was using. Okay, guys, let's get into our picks here. And we're going to start with you first, Pete. First matchup is Rogue versus NORA. That's North America versus APAC. Who are you going to go with there, Pete?
I'm going with NORA because we are sat here with Rogue9, and there's no way on God's green earth am I going to go for Rogue because. You know, just for the bants. So I'm going NORA. I'm going for the Japanese team.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Good stuff.
Okay. That's an upset. Rogue, who do you have? Are you going to go against your namesake?
No. First of all, I never would, not ever. I'm going to eat my words in a few minutes when we get to the next game. but until then, I'm sticking with it. No, I mean, Rogue have done really well this season. They're the first seed for North America. I'm going with them.
I'm going with Rogue as well. No explanation needed. Rogue is quickly becoming one of the titans of the scene, and NORA has a lot to prove coming out of APAC. So I'm going to go with Rogue. So Pete's kind of the outlier there in that first matchup. Let's go back to Pete for the second match. That's EG versus PENTA.
Oh, now this is a really, really interesting one. And I just wish that these two weren't playing in the first match because obviously it's a knockout, single elimination. I'm going to go with PENTA, but this is really tough. It's like 49-50, but being from the EU, I suppose I have to go with the European favourites. So I'm going with PENTA on this one.
49 and 50 doesn't add up to 100.
Sorry, Rogue9. Was that
you can't slip that by Rogue. Me, I didn't notice that.
49-50 doesn't add up to 100. What happens with the 1% chance?
Did I ever say percentage though, Rogue? No, I'm going to go PENTA. I'm going to go PENTA, but this is the grudge match. So,
All right. Well, who do you have there, Rogue?
Yeah, I was actually going to say something really similar. Like, to me, this would have been like 52%, 48%. But with PENTA having to sub in a new player literally 1 week before the tournament, this is, for me, 100% up in the air. This is like 50-50. It could go either way. I'm going to go with PENTA as well.
Okay, so both of you guys go with PENTA. Here I am in NA, and we got NA versus EU. All right, so I agree with you guys. This is obviously really close. A couple of things that I want to mention here as far as this matchup. First of all, if the Invitational Finals would have been best of 3 and not best of 5, we would have EG winning that in a 2-0 and having a completely different conversation right now. And this will be a best of 3 that they're playing. Second, yes, the sub-in. Now, Cantor Ricchetti is an animal. I mean, he is one of the most skilled players in the world, no doubt. Big shoes to fill with Shate, but certainly he's more than capable. I almost kind of feel like this is going to motivate PENTA a little bit more, that maybe their boot camp, they're getting more into the strats than they normally would. Because they have to show everything to Cantor Ricchetti. And it's kind of like one of those things where when you have guests over at your house, everybody's on their best behavior. I almost feel like this could actually motivate PENTA even more than normal. So with that in mind, I'm going to stick with NA and go with EG. I have to. I mean, EG, if it wasn't for the roster change, I honestly would have picked PENTA. But with EG just kind of being quiet here, not having any drama, no last second changes, I just feel like I have to go with them.
I think this is the final, essentially.
I would say, well, we'll get to them, but FaZe and Rogue are right up there. I mean, Rogue beat EG, so, I mean, to get that #1 seed. So you can't really sleep on Rogue, true. And FaZe is there as well. But moving on, back to Pete here. Millennium versus FaZe. Who you got there, Pete?
FaZe.
Okay. So you're not sticking with the EU on that one. You're gonna go.
One of you is enough. No, I think FaZe. I could see FaZe getting to the final. To be honest with you, I think they blew Liquid away. No, and
they went through Latin America pretty easy, I believe.
But here's the thing: they played Liquid twice. The first time they lost 2-0. The second time they won 2-0. And actually, FaZe and Millennium both had exactly the same results coming out of the season. They each won 3 games, which all of them won 2-0, and then they lost the one game against each other 2-0.
Interesting. I think along that point, FaZe and Liquid are two teams that are very, very familiar with each other. It's kind of like if FaZe and EG were playing, maybe I might consider, or let's say Rogue versus FaZe. If those two teams were playing, I might consider FaZe a better team than somebody else in North America. But because that team in North America is so familiar with Rogue, they might give them a tighter match, or they might give them more fits, or be harder for them to play against. So, yeah, I don't know. Who are you picking there, Rogue? With the stats you just threw at us?
Yeah, I think this one for me is, again, up in the air. It could really go either way, but I think Millennium actually, they played Penta twice, and they gave them a decent run for the money twice, and even in the final seeding match, it for a while looked as if Millennium might actually come away with it, so I'm going to go Millennium here.
Okay, all right. So Rogue's sticking with EU. I'm going to go with FaZe, and here's why. I feel like the Invitationals, I feel like FaZe lost the Invitationals. I feel like FaZe was the best team at the Invitationals, potentially. And they just ran into a really hot Evil Geniuses and they lost the map ban phase against them, and it just went downhill. I think that FaZe could have very easily won the Invitationals, and I think that they haven't missed a beat since then. So Millennium's good, absolutely, but I'm going to pick FaZe over Millennium there. So moving into our last matchup of the quarterfinals there, Fnatic versus Liquid. This is a rematch from the Invitationals. Who do you have there, Pete?
So Fnatic, are they the Aussies?
Yes, they are.
Well, I've got to go with them, right? I've got to go with my Aussie brothers, so I'm going to go with Fnatic. I know there's a little theme going on here. I'm not necessarily going for the favourites all the way along. So,
Sir, you're going with your favourite. I'm
going with my favourite, Fnatic.
All right, I like it. Who do you have there, Rogue?
I'm going to go with them as well. I mean, Liquids, they did really well coming through the season, and again, they have every chance of winning this. But for me, going back to the Invitationals, how Fnatic, who were then called Mind Freak, did, and they beat Liquid and managed to get through the initial group stages where Liquid went out. So I'm going to say they can do it again. Fnatic for me. Okay,
I'm going to go with... I guess I'll be like you. I'll follow the leader here. I'm going to go with Fnatic as well. They beat Liquid at the Invitational. I think they can do it again here. I think that Fnatic's only gotten better. And, of course, Liquid's going to bring their game as well. Liquid has the potential to play with anybody in the world. We mentioned earlier that they have beaten FaZe. But I still think Fnatic's going to win this. I'm going to pick them. So, all right, moving on to the semifinals. We'll go back to Pete here. And you picked NORA actually to beat Rogue. So, Pete, your semifinal would be what? NORA versus PENTA. Is that correct? Okay.
Who am I going to pick here? Yeah. Well, it's a bit of a toss of a coin. I think we'll go with a 99-1 on this one. Is that okay, Rogue? Does that add up?
That does add up. Confirm.
Consult the spreadsheet.
Yep.
I'm obviously going to go PENTA on this one.
Okay. All right. So, Rogue, your semifinal would be Rogue versus PENTA. Who do you have there?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Rogue all the way, certainly for the first match, and that's about as far as it'll go. I'll go PENTA as well.
All right. So both of you guys have PENTA moving into the semis. Are moving on to the finals. My semifinal is going to be Rogue versus EG. This is a rematch of the first and second place seed out of North America. I'm going to pick EG here because they haven't had to do the roster sweep. Shuttle filling in for Rogue is them losing Geo is a big loss. I know how important that Geo is on that team. And I know no discredit to Shuttle. I'm sure he's more than capable, but I just think having to do this before a LAN final is going to have a negative effect on them. So I think EG is going to take this. I also noticed, I'm not saying that EG didn't try in that matchup against Rogue. I'm not saying that at all. I'm sure EG went in there trying to win, but I noticed Canadian coming out of that. Usually he's pretty hard on himself. Like if they lose, he takes it pretty hard. I just remember his tweet after that was like something like GG's to Rogue. I'm looking forward to getting better for the finals. So I almost feel like he feels confident. I'm sure that EG's confident that they can come back and beat Rogue in this setting. I can't wait. I hope we get this semifinal. I can't wait to watch it, but I'm gonna go with EG. So I have EG in the finals. That's an outlier compared to you two. You both have Penta moving out of that bracket. All right, so going down to the lower part here. Pete, you picked Millennium, correct?
No.
You picked FaZe. FaZe? FaZe and Fnatic. Right. Okay.
I just want to say one. Yeah, okay, sorry, go on. No,
go ahead, Pete.
All right. I actually don't think Fnatic are going to beat Team Liquid, but I'm going with the heart rather than the head. And it's going to be FaZe versus Fnatic and FaZe to go through to the final.
So your final would be Penta versus FaZe, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who do you have there, Rogue? Is your semifinal the same, or did you pick Millennium?
I picked Millennium.
Okay.
And they would move on for me.
Okay. So you have an all EU final.
Let's go.
Millennium versus Penta.
Yep.
Ooh, okay. My semi there is FaZe versus Fnatic, and I am going to go with FaZe. I think Fnatic will make it into the semis there, but I'm not going to pick Fnatic to beat FaZe. For the reasons I mentioned earlier, just FaZe I think has a potential to be the best team in the world for sure. So Pete, your final is Penta versus FaZe. Who do you got?
Penta.
Okay, you're picking Penta to win it all.
Nice and simple.
They didn't miss a beat. They're not. You don't think that them having to sub in Kanto is gonna have a downfall that it's gonna affect them?
It's going to be a really interesting change because obviously Kanto is a very different player to Chate. I mean, they're very good fraggers, both of them, but Chate is more of a flex player. He can play the mirror or the smoke, whereas Kanto is more of an Ashe, Jaeger, Ella type player. But if any team can adapt around that kind of change, it's Penta. Plays IGLs like Fabian, he'll have it sorted. Yeah, I have faith.
Yeah, that's good insight from you, and I agree with you absolutely. The fact that I didn't pick Penta to make it this far doesn't have to do with their ability necessarily to adjust. I just think that it's another thing for them to have to deal with, and the margin's so close to begin with that I just feel like EG can get a leg up on them in this setting. But all right, Rogue, your final would be Millennium versus Penta. Who do you have?
Correct. I'll have Penta going through there as well.
Jeez,
I think for them, the toughest matchup is the very first game. If they can make it through that, they have a very good chance of going all the way.
All right, so you guys are both picking Penta to win it. My final is going to be EG versus FaZe, and I'm picking FaZe. I know that might shock a lot of people. Yes. Again, I just go back to I feel like the Invitational was FaZe's to win, and they ended up losing it. And I think that they've only gotten better since then. I know EG beat FaZe to knock them out of the Invitational, so they're more than capable to do it if they meet them in the finals. But I really feel like FaZe is on a different level right now. So I'm picking FaZe to win it all. It's going to be the first time that Latin America or Brazil team has won a LAN final, and I think it's going to be a great showing for them. So you guys are both picking Penta. I'm picking FaZe. I can't wait to see how this plays out. Any final thoughts from you guys as far as what you're looking forward to? Or
I think Rogue's probably. I'm looking at Rogue's choices, and I'm thinking he's made some really wise choices there all the way along. He's not like he's got that spreadsheet on the go, and he's got. I think Mystic
I've actually got a spreadsheet open in front of me, and I actually spent sort of the afternoon going through the results of all of the different leagues throughout the season. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, there's, like I mentioned to you at the beginning, I think out of the first 4 games, there's only the first one where I think Rogue have a very good chance. But after that, it's either teams that could go through, and it could just all fall apart immediately in the first day.
That's a great point. I do agree with what you're saying there. Outside of that Rogue NORA match, everyone could go either way, absolutely. And that's a great thing for us as spectators. The Rogue's weakness is Millennium. He's putting a lot of stock in Millennium. If Millennium loses the FaZe first round, that's going to hurt Rogue's bracket big time. And that's an upset. If Millennium beats FaZe, that'll be an upset in my book. So we'll have to see how that plays out there. I'm interested to see a little bit, off topic, but I'm interested to see Lion's pick rate. Do you guys think, yes or no, do you guys think Lion will be in the top 5 operators picked at this LAN final?
Yeah, I think we're still going to see him.
You think he'll be top 5? Okay, Pete, what do you think?
I agree. I think he's still going to get picked in this LAN final. Yeah, he's still going to be quite popular.
I agree with both of you guys. I think it might be less of just teams having to adjust quickly and still having them Lion involved in their strats more than necessarily him being a top 5 as far as strength. But I'm interested to see how it plays out. I hope he's not in the top 5. I hope that he's a situational pick, and we see him maybe once per map or something like that. But I'd prefer if he wasn't in the top 5. I've seen enough Lion, but
I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of Thinker, particularly FaZe or someone like that using a bit of Thinker, Blitz, that kind of thing. But they've been using Lion all season, so it would be a bit of a readjustment. But obviously, it's not beyond them to switch him out of their roster. But with regards to will he be in the top 5? Yeah, I reckon he will be in the top 5 picked attacking operators at least.
Yeah, with the way he's been nerfed, I think he needs a lot more discipline now in terms of when you choose to use those 2 charges that you have. But these guys, they're so coordinated, they're at the very top level that you can have worldwide. They can still take full advantage of those, even though it's not as easy, not as straightforward to use him as it was before.
I agree.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. If they pull out that Finka Blitz, that could be really entertaining to watch. Not fun to play against, but fun to watch. That could be really cool. So, all right. Well, I think that's about it.
How does the scoring work?
Do you guys just want to do like 1 point for the first round, 2 points for the second round, 4 points for the finals? So if we pick one right in the first round, that gets us 1 point. If you pick it right in the second round, you get 2 points, and then in the finals, you get 4 points.
We could, of course. That's so it all really depends on those first picks, because it just snowballs and becomes more and more important. Okay.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's a small bracket, so well, it's not like you can do anything too crazy with it, but it's if you lose one of the first rounds, then you lose the potential for points moving forward. So
okay,
yeah, it makes it interesting.
It does make it interesting, but then again, you have FaZe Clan winning it, so if Millennium can make it through the first round, that's definitely a good thing for me. And that's it, our predictions for the Rainbow Six Siege Pro League Season 7 Finals. And with that, the bet is on. And now, over to you. What are your thoughts on our guesses, and how do you see the matches playing out? Put your predictions in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Flanked and Pete for joining in the fun. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.
Riot!